Hello, this is your host Akhil Navluri, and welcome to the brand new episode of the TechOSpace podcast series. In this podcast episode, I'm honored and thrilled to welcome one of the most eminent and prominent industry leaders of the IT space, and also he happens to be a Microsoft MVP in the United States. And also talking about him, he's an AI solutions architect for a reputed company in the United States, and he's none other than Mr. Rafsan Huseynov, who happens to be based out of Baltimore area, Washington DC, the United States. So, Rafsan, it gives me an absolute pleasure to welcome you to this podcast initiative of mine. Finally, we are here after after months of brainstorming and discussion phase. Now we are finally here and setting the stage right. So, Rafsan, how have you been doing, and how have been your previous months the week earlier?
First of all, Akhil, thank you so much for invitation. This is it's a truly a pleasure talking to you and sharing my experience. Yeah, it's been I would say good and busy. In fact, I
Hmm.
was in one of the summit yesterday, and I was speaking about different Microsoft AI solutions for agent development. Yeah,
Okay.
I can't complain. It's been really great.
All right. That's good to know, Rafsan. So yeah, so Rafsan, at this moment, so let's kick off with our podcast session.
Mm.
All right. So Rafsan, this is a question that I've been literally scrambling my head to get the answer. So finally, I think I can ask this question to you. So Rafsan, what is your take on the Microsoft Power Platform?
I think I mean, Papa, I get a little bit emotional because my entire tech career is basically begun with Power Platform because that that platform made technology accessible to everyone, including myself. So I was able to learn like basics and build applications, automations, even like small dashboards. And later I'm like, okay, I can take this to next level, learning more advanced Power Platform. So today I see Power Platform as a not only a tool, but kind
Mhm.
of uh, I would say, platform that makes technology accessible to everyone, makes it intuitive and also easy to integrate into our daily workflows.
Awesome. So Rafsan, having said that, do you recommend the freshers, or let's say people who are new to technology, to have a hands-on with respect to the Microsoft Power Platform, or do you feel that they should first start with the Microsoft 365 suite? Like, what is your take on that again?
Well, they're actually kind of different products, but also they are integrated, right? So if you have,
Yeah.
let's say, M365 uh, enterprise plans, now you have access to Power Apps, Power Automate. But when it comes to like professional development, yeah, you can see that they follow different paths, like they have application lifecycle management, they have dev environment, test, production, like even the admin centers are different, right?
Yep.
Power Platform has its own admin center. Of course, you can have some configurations made in Microsoft Admin Center, but I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, I start with Power Platform, honestly. And then along the way, you will learn the Microsoft 365 apps too. Like you'll probably work a lot with SharePoint. It's also part of Microsoft 365.
Yep.
OneDrive as well. You might have data in Excel, etc. Yeah. I mean, in fact, I mean, anyone starts their career journey, Microsoft 365 is probably the first thing that they should learn.
Amazing. I think, then that's a beautiful roadmap. I think a basic roadmap before you actually, head on for the automation point of view in the
Yeah.
Microsoft Power Apps, or let's say the Microsoft Power Automate and all of that. Yeah. Now, Rafsan, I want to understand this. Like, as a solutions architect for your company, I wanted to know, like, what were the key initiatives that were taken by you to, build the AI agents, extending the the Copilot Studio with the Microsoft Azure Foundry, and having said that, creating frameworks for the AI governance. Like, what went with that?
Yeah, I mean, uh, agents are just extends Gen AI capabilities, right? So I believe like last 2 years, people have been talking about agents, and I see them really valuable because we are not limited only to, let's say, hey, summarize this file, generate this, etc. But you can use large language models for as a decision maker. Like traditionally you would build software applications, write lines of code, and that would, basically implement the logic at the app level. Now we are using large language model. It's not replacing the code, but it makes the process and applications far more efficient. So the agents that I build typically depends on use cases, but what I see primarily the knowledge retrieval agents. Some people might argue that, hey, they are very basics. The purpose is really not uh, building the autonomous agents right away, because you need to make sure that organizations are ready. And to do
Yep.
that, the best way is just having simple agent, because
Hmm.
when you build that, you see, okay, what is the DLP policy? What are the accesses? Like, you understand the data layer, and then, okay, let's say you have oversharing problem, you would go ahead and fix it, and then you would start building more powerful agents. So I start
Yep.
with, it's a pattern, I would say. And when I build, I start with retrieval agents, then move to task agents, and then autonomous agents.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, when we talk about, integrating Copilot Studio and Microsoft Co-Foundry and, creating the frameworks for AI governance, like how did you get that idea for? Like, how did you get that idea out of, scratch?
I mean, it's actually it's not my idea totally. It's a industry
Okay.
best practice, right? And
Sure.
Copilot
Yeah.
Studio is part of Microsoft Power Platform. All these governance, security, they are not new concepts. So they've been around for a while now. So when it comes to governance, like when you build agent, like all this solution concept, building agentic solutions in different environments, using pipelines to deploy them, and then having, let's say, environment routing, environment strategy, all these have been around, and that
Okay.
makes the same concept to apply to Copilot Studio agents as well.
Amazing. Now, Rafsan, what was your first reaction when you were, building your first AI agent? Were you nervous or did you feel like, okay, this is a game changer? Like, what was your immediate reaction to that?
I mean, the first agent that I built, it wasn't really that powerful.
Mhm.
Um, I used to play with Microsoft Power Virtual Agents. Uh, that was one of the least adopted tools out there back then. The reason, because you had to like define everything, like basically keyword searching. And the keyword search, we know that unless you back that with semantic indexing, RAG, it doesn't really work well, and you see less adoption. But
Yep.
yeah, I was in Power Platform conference, and the generative orchestration wasn't available yet. And I was
Okay.
trying to build this agent, and I was sharing this idea with one of my friends at the conference, and they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. In a month from now, they're gonna announce a new feature called generative orchestration. So
Okay.
when you upload the files, so you don't have to create all these like multiple topics. So you just upload the files, define their purposes, and generative orchestration will uh, pick the right knowledge source and generate answers based on the system instructions.
Okay.
And I waited it, and then I built the agent, and yeah, it was powerful. Again, now it's way powerful, but I'm
Okay.
talking about like 2.5 years ago. Yeah, it was a new tool back then.
That's fantastic, Rafsan. So that's very interesting to know. I feel AI agents are now the future. Everywhere you go about, everyone is talking about the AI agents, and even like, low code, no code technologies, even they are, applying AI agents. So I feel,
Hmm.
there's a huge potential for that. And going forward, it's going to be much more interesting and complicated, I would say.
Mm.
I'm not saying complicated, but more sophisticated. That's the right word to use.
Oh yeah, that's 100% true.
Yeah. Yeah. So now, Rafsan, would you like to, share your experience of, working as an adjunct professor, then, again, at the same time, the Power Apps for, let's say the project management, the global program manager, and, based on for these, let's say the Microsoft Power Platform University Hub. So how was that experience like?
Oh, that was awesome experience. So I was working one of the financial companies, and one of my friends uh, just called me, hey, we have this opportunity. Can you lead this program? So that program uh, created by PMI in collaboration with Microsoft. And the purpose was truly empowering university students to learn Microsoft Power Platform so that they can find better job opportunities. And
Okay.
yeah, when I started, we had just few universities to collaborate with, but almost in a year, I was able to increase that number up to 300. And we had thousands of students learning Power Platform, learning how to build simple applications. And it wasn't limited to only project management students, but more like business students that they can learn. And I was speaking one of the events, and one of the professors
Hmm.
just wanted to talk to me, and he's like, "Hey, uh, this is great. My students would love this. If you would like, you know, you can teach them uh, how to build these applications." And yeah, I got that offer. It was part-time, and it was truly amazing experience because working with students, understanding how they learn and what they can build. So they were very creative. They did really great no-code applications, mostly say. Some of them they were learning low code, but we didn't have that much time. So overall, I would
Okay.
say it was a very rewarding path for me because that's the thing. When you start teaching, that's the time that you learn. And
All
I
right.
spent a lot
All
of
right.
time to create the curriculum, to create the presentation materials, and basically be ready, right? Because it was also, I was early in my Power Platform journey, so certainly helped me learn more.
Fantastic. Rafsan, talking about the university and the university students, may I know, like, which university was that? Was that somewhere based in Washington, DC, or,
Oh yeah, yeah, the George Washington University. It's one of the famous universities in US.
okay, that's perfect. Now, talking about the Power Apps, like, Rafsan, do you think, as compared to the other low-code, no-code technologies, like Power Apps is a game changer for itself, or let's say a trendsetter? Like, what do you feel? I mean, what is your take entirely with respect to the Power Apps?
Yeah, I used to work a lot on Power Apps building, low-code applications like both Canvas apps and model-driven apps. And I would say past 3 years, I've been all about just Gen AI and agentic AI. So I rarely visit Power Apps nowadays. But I see a lot of organizations that have been adopting Power Apps because it's easy to build. And as long as you have technical resources, you can build multiple applications. You can, make all, I wouldn't say all, but your mundane, your like tasks that would take multiple people to complete, but you can build one Canvas app that everything would be simple. So yeah, I see a lot of adoption, but I also see a lot of Gen AI capabilities in Power Apps nowadays, like Plan Designer, Power Page,
Okay.
everything like this. Just you can use Copilot to generate these beautiful applications for you. Of course, you need to know the backend, right?
Mhm.
But it makes it way easier uh, to enter the field. But that doesn't mean that you use Gen AI now you are done. No.
Yeah.
When people ask me, hey, you can build applications just using natural language, so you don't have
Yeah.
to spend time to learn, let's say, Power Apps. I'm like, no. Like Copilot is more helpful to me rather than to you if you don't know Power Apps. because it's a
I
software
know.
application development, right? So I know what to ask from Copilot to generate, let's say, add a new screen, write this like a PowerFX formula, but you don't know that. You can't just rely on Copilot for everything. So that's why you learn this tool first and then leverage Copilot.
That's a right point, Rafsan. Now, Rafsan, when we talk about the Power Apps, which sector or let's say industry that it is more applicable for? Like what is the major industry that Power Apps is heading for at the moment?
I mean, as I said, it's been for a while that I don't do anything with Power
Okay.
Apps, but back then I would say more or less every industry, like any industry that struggle with pile of work, manual tasks, they would
Hmm.
implement Power Apps. That could be even medical companies, uh,
Hmm.
manufacturing companies. I have seen, like, I used to work at Caterpillar. I've seen a lot of Power Apps applications there. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's fantastic. So when we talk about the manual work, it's even linked to mining also, right? Because mining is also a manual kind of a thing. So I feel Power Apps is much more used in that industry as well.
You mean like data
The
mining
mining,
or?
not data mining,
L-
not the tech mining. I'm talking about the mining in general.
Oh, yeah, yeah, exactly. So because yeah, I remember like we had a lot of uh, different like sectors or departments. They had a lot of, they were, one of them was mining too. So they were using different machineries, different orders. So I remember they were using Power Apps for that.
Okay. That's perfect, Rafsan. So that actually, answers my question and
Mm.
sums up the point for me. Now, Rafsan, I'm keen to understand like what were the key learnings that you have grabbed, while working as a solutions architect and also working as a business analyst in the past. Now, when we talk about these two roles, did you find any similarity between them, or is there any joining curve between both of these roles?
Well, I mean, they are kind of different roles. Um, in as a business analyst, you mainly focus on to understand both technology as well as business, so you can get the requirements from business and translate them to into technical, so that developers can work on that. On the other hand,
Okay.
solution architects, I mean, there are different kind of architects. Like you have enterprise architects, you have domain architects, and you have solutions architect. Solutions
Yep.
architect are mostly focused on one or few solutions. Let's say I'm in the solution architect for Microsoft AI tools, right? So
Yep.
their job is basically creating the first, working with customer, understanding their pain points, and based on, uh, within like limitations, understanding what's possible and creating the blueprint of the solution. That doesn't necessarily mean all the time building application itself, but
Yep.
let's say how data will flow between applications, between databases, accesses, permission levels, etc. So all this work needs to be done by architects.
Yep.
And sometimes architects they build, like in my current role, I'm not only architecting the solutions, but I'm also engineering. So ideally, like architects would only focus on architecture, but in some scenarios, you would both architect and engineer the solution. So the similarities, I believe, like they need to understand a wide variety of tools, understand like what's possible, like I would say art of possible, not just only, hey, I'm a developer, I know this, right? So they
Yep.
should be able to give holistic picture, but they are different roles.
Indeed, indeed. Now, when we talk about your business analyst role, I mean, was that business analyst role even linked to, was there any connection of Microsoft, Microsoft Copilot Studio, or let's say Power Apps back then? Or was it like, a complete different
Yeah,
route altogether?
I mean, that helped a little bit because as a business analyst, uh, you know, I was involved one of the projects and it was about Power BI. And at that time, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna learn this tool. And then you learn like, okay, I built this Power BI that connects the dashboard that connects to a database, and there are other databases. How can I bring data here? And then you start with, okay, there is actually another tool that's called Power Automate. So you see like slowly you are getting to understand which component of Power Platform I can use, where and why.
Yep.
Yeah, so I started with like simple Power BI dashboards, but I liked Power Apps and Power Automate more. So I
Yep.
wasn't a huge fan of building Power BI dashboards. So that's why later I was slowly focused on Power Automate and Power Apps and then Copilot
Okay.
Studio.
Talking about Power BI, it's more, linked towards the data side. I mean, especially for data scientists like me. And
Exactly. Exactly. So that's why like most of organizations, they have uh, AI team and data team. I mean,
yep,
they collaborate a lot, but I mean, there are so many similarities, but they are not the same exact area.
indeed. That is true because there is always, collaboration between them, but sometimes they are standalone. There is a
Yeah,
collaboration between them, but as they say, right, as you were just mentioning out, AI department and data department, so their functionalities and the way they work is a
yeah,
little bit different. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you can tell. I mean, the tools that even you use, you can see like, let's say I use Copilot Studio, Azure AI Foundry. They use, let's say, Power BI. They use Fabric. So you see like the
Hmm.
tools are even not same.
Got it. Got it. That gives me an idea on that. Now, Rafsan, would you like to, give me an insight on your expertise of, I mean, bridging or let's say integrating these two worlds? First happens to be the Copilot Studio with the Snowflake's Cortex. And is there any interesting backstory that has been associated, with this integration?
Yeah, I mean, the integration works well because Cortex agents, it's built on top of Snowflake. So the use case I had with my friend Marcia, so you don't actually connect to Snowflake right away. So you connect Copilot Studio agent with external agent built on top of Snowflake. So that's a multi-agentic solution. And it
Hmm.
works well because you set the permission, everything in Cortex agent, and then using Copilot Studio, you just pull that information code from Cortex Analyst and generate the response. And the benefit here, you can deploy your agent to Microsoft Teams. So it's one of the use cases, I would say, brings a lot of value to the table because large organizations, they typically store their data in IT data lake. To get the data from IT data lake, you need data analysts, data scientists,
Hmm.
data lake architects to build
Indeed.
those, um, let's say, dashboards, making sure that data flows in the right way, and then end users would consume. But let's say if they need something new, something different, then they need to build this, right? And that takes a lot of time. So that's why having these conversational interface makes basically empowers end users, business users to get the answers right away without, I would say, learning or understanding writing SQL queries.
Indeed, absolutely. Now, you were just saying that, when it comes to Cortex, having that integration, there's an external agent. I want to know exactly what's the name of that external agent in this process.
Well, that's the Cortex agent. I'm saying like you have Copilot Studio agent, right? And Snowflake is external to Microsoft. On top of Snowflake, you created, let's say, Cortex agent. Now, your Copilot Studio agent connects to external agent, and between them, there is actually agentic flow. So when the
Hmm.
user provides prompt in Copilot Studio agent, agent takes that prompt, sends request to Snowflake Cortex via agentic flow, and then Cortex processes it and generates a response back.
Okay, that's interesting.
Mhm.
So, when you started this integration, do you feel that it's applicable for the data team, like the data engineers, data scientists, data analyst, the data analysts? Do you feel there is a scope there, or it takes some time for them to get used to it? Like what's your call on that?
I mean, for Snowflake, definitely you need to work with the data lake architect, right? Because they know how to build these tables, they understand how APIs work, they understand the limitations. So like my friend, for example, he's not data scientist, he's data lake architect. So in this case, we were able to create this agent.
Hmm.
But in, let's say, organizational level, when you create this, yes, you would add multiple people from different practice areas. One could be data analyst, one could be data scientist, to understand the schema of data.
Yep.
Uh, Obviously, you will need to add the data lake architect and then solution architect like myself.
Makes sense. That completely makes sense. So when we talk about this integration, how long did it take you? Did it take you an hour, 2 hours, or like how
Oh,
much
it
was
took 4 months. I mean,
four
it wasn't,
months? Okay.
yeah, it wasn't our, it was like some inspiration for us. It wasn't our day-to-day job. We saw this pain and we are like, we can't find this information anywhere else. And even there was some information, but it wasn't uh, very intuitive, right? So we decided to do that. But it was actually very early. That's why we spent a lot of time to figuring out this connection, a lot of debugging, reaching out to Snowflake support team, Microsoft support team. So that's why. But now I would
Yeah,
say
yeah.
it's better. So now you can build that. I don't know. Depends on the use case in 2-3 weeks.
But that's spectacular. That's a very,
Mm,
let's say a cutting edge idea, and really, really
mm,
hats off for that,
mm.
Rafsan.
Thank you.
All right, Rafsan. So I want to understand, like, what was your source of inspiration and drive to, start your own YouTube channel? Like, how did you get that idea?
Um, so like when you start your Power Platform journey, yes, of course, there are Microsoft Learn resources. You get started with them, learn. But at some point, it's kind of like official formal language, right? My learning,
Yeah.
like I have hard time, not now with Power Platform or Copilot Studio, but in the beginning, I have really hard time to understand the formal language. I needed some like people to explain all these nitty-gritty details. And I found Microsoft MVPs like Reza Torani, Shane Young, uh, Lisa Crosby. They were so good. I mean, they are still on YouTube and they are very famous, and I learned a lot from them. And they explain every detail in a way that you can understand.
Hmm.
And that's how I started learning. And I'm like, actually, it would make more sense if I share my learning with
Yeah,
others
that's right.
because, you know, and I made my first video and I'm like, okay, this is actually good because when you try to make a video, you spend a lot of time to do a lot of research about the topic. So at the same time, I make video so that someone else can learn, but I learn a lot because I'm not limiting myself to the certain topics. For one topic, I have to learn other related topics to understand to both understand and explain them in more detail. And what if someone
Yep.
asks questions, right? So I need to, that's a credibility, right? If someone asks you a question, you can
Yeah, yeah.
just say that, hey, okay, I don't know. So you, at least you need to have some idea and you need to know, okay, I don't know right now, but I'll get back to you with more details. So yeah, I started slowly in the beginning. It was a lot of work because it wasn't necessarily hard making these videos, but editing it took a lot of time, because
I
now
relate to that. Yeah.
I'm like, God, I spend more time on working on DaVinci Resolve that was a like on-prem software rather than making these videos. But now I spend less time on editing, and there are like better solutions. Like I use Clipjump to record my videos, and then you know I make videos now shorter because people they don't have time to watch 1 hour videos and
Yeah, yeah.
they don't have patience to. So yeah,
Right.
I later video is one thing, and I started public speaking. That was also really great because yeah, videos
Mm.
is comparing like speaking sessions, videos are easier. Why? Because you're by yourself, you get your coffee, and you make your videos. Okay, like the first video didn't go well, you can make the second video. But
Yeah,
public
yeah,
speaking, it takes a lot of, effort because
yeah. I know.
you need to understand your audience, you need to well prepared on the topic, and it makes you nervous too. And then I've spoken a lot of events, and I feel confident. I mean, literally, like I do like basic preparation to understand the topic audience, and then because that's my day-to-day job, right? Like developing agents, let's say. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's fantastic, Rafsan. So, Rafsan, when people saw your YouTube video, like, did you get a word of thanks from people across the world that, Rafsan, you made my work easier when I've, referred to your videos? Did you they get those kind of, let's say, comments from people?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it doesn't matter positive or constructive feedback, right? I'm all about, how people, learn what they would like because they ask a lot of questions and that gives me a lot of ideas. Uh, I receive a lot of positive feedback, but sometimes I also receive, okay, this is great, but I have this use case. Can you make a video?
Hmm.
And sometimes it's like
Right.
maybe time bandwidth, or maybe it's like
Yeah, I know.
it's not necessarily my area, or it would take a lot of effort. So right now, my main area is like if I hit anything measure at work, let's say, and I'm like, if I have this problem, I'm sure there are other people out there with the same problem. So I solve that problem and then make a video about it.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
That's spectacular. So when you made a video out of that, how much time did it take you, on a roughly basis?
Oh, sometimes it took like 7 hours. I'm not kidding. But the entire video
Seven
was like,
hours.
but the entire video sometimes it was like 30 minutes. But somehow I
Hmm.
spent 7 hours because I was just, I don't know, just spending a lot of time on editing or re-recording. You see, like, but I don't spend that much time now. I record the video, I do basic editing, and it takes like maybe 1 hour or so.
Okay.
But to now I'm like, yeah, it makes more sense now. But at the beginning, you don't have option. You gotta just learn hard way. Maybe someone like easier for them, but in the beginning, it wasn't easier for me.
Completely, completely. That completely explains the point to me. Rafsan, before we actually, conclude our podcast session, let's take a lighter route. All this while it was all about, Copilot Studio. I was bombarding you with questions on, about how you integrate Copilot Studio with Snowflake Cortex, then about, your take on Microsoft Power Platform. So now we'll take a lighter route in the form of a rapid fire round. That's nothing technical. So I will start with my rapid fire. And the first question to you, Rafsan. So the first question to you. So Rafsan, what is your favorite sports team?
Um, like I used to watch a lot of football game, like a soccer game, because I was born in Azerbaijan, so I used to like watch Real Madrid in Spain.
Hmm. Okay.
But now I don't watch actual sport anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, so I like skiing. I go skiing in the winter by myself.
Oh, that's
But
nice.
so that's the
Okay.
thing, like I don't like watching the sport. I like doing the sport, right? So
Mm-hmm.
So past couple of weeks, I also try to, go to hockey game with my wife because, yeah, my wife's brother, he he's a hockey player, and yeah, I'm trying
Okay.
to, understand. Like, I actually liked it. It's really great game, but the venue is very cold because it's a hockey game, right? So they play on ice. So, but yes, sporting for me is like I would say skiing in the winter. I don't like really watching the sport, uh, but I like hiking a lot.
Hiking and
So
skiing, they're beautiful hobbies. And, I mean, even I would like to, try doing skiing, but I didn't get a chance yet.
hopefully you will try it. Yeah.
All right. So you were just talking about your brother-in-law, and you told that, he's an ice hockey player. So which team does he play for, in the NHL?
He works. He plays for I believe like one of the teams in Michigan. He's not
Okay.
professional player anymore. He's
Uh-huh.
actually like a veteran, like
Veteran player. Okay.
playing hockey in his leisure time or free time.
Okay. I mean, I've heard a lot about ice hockey in my country, and even in Australia also. Ice hockey is pretty sparse, I would say. In Australia, it's sparse, but in
Yeah.
in India, it's completely negligible. People have no idea what ice hockey is. So
Oh yeah, no, well, it was great. Yeah.
fantastic, Rafsan. So, Rafsan, now, like, if I would just like to ask you this, since I come from India, I want to know, like, what is your favorite Indian dish? So, what would that be?
Man, I love butter chicken.
Okay.
It's just I love butter chicken, chicken tikka, uh, all types of naan, especially the
Okay.
garlic naan. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I eat a lot of Indian food actually because it's similar to Mediterranean food and where I came from,
Mm.
which Azerbaijan. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah. Yeah.
eat a lot of rice, chicken. Yeah, butter chicken for me is number one.
Yeah. That is actually an OG food. In India also people are fans of it. But yeah, that's
Yep.
a pretty good choice.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's nice, Rafsan. So, Rafsan, what was the last movie that you have watched?
Uh, I mean, we watched last week. God, I forgot the name. This happens in these British guys go to Norway or Sweden for hiking, and there is this some creature that hunting them. I knew
Okay.
the
All right.
I knew the name. Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot. I'm not really good at remembering names, but yeah, it was a great movie. But again, like the same thing. I'm not really a movie
Intuitive
person.
movies.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
No, no worries, no worries. Now, out of all the countries that you've visited, Rafsan, what is your favorite country? Or let's say, what is your favorite holiday destination?
Um, First of all, my favorite country, I would say, I mean, Italy. Italy is,
Italy?
I started there. We go there every
Hmm.
year. So the holiday destination, we don't have typical like holiday destination. So, but it happens time to time. Like a few years ago, we went to Germany and France for Christmas. That was spectacular time. And for summer break, I typically go to Bodrum, Turkey with my family because it's really great. Outside of that, yeah, mainly hanging around in US, like different states, um, outdoor activities.
Hmm. Since you are, since you come from from Azerbaijan and you have the Azerbaijan origin. So suppose if I visit Azerbaijan, what is the place that you would, recommend me to visit?
That's actually there are so many Indians they visit Azerbaijan. It's a small country, right? And it's not that far from. Yeah, no,
Yeah. Yeah.
I know there are a lot of Azerbaijanis they visit India too. The the capital city Baku is must visit place, right? That's
Hmm.
the main city you would go there visit. But I like actually the other cities because if you go to north, you have like beautiful Caucasus Mountains. So you can hike there, you can get the uh, real Azerbaijani food, and then it's gonna be very similar to Indian food.
Yeah.
Lots of rice and the quality of meat, you will really like it. Yeah, I would recommend go to Kabbalah, go to Gusar. Yeah,
Mhm.
those places are fantastic.
Perfect. Then I think I will just add them in my bucket list. And yeah,
Yeah,
looking forward to visiting them soon.
sounds good, man.
Perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So the final question to you, Rafsan. So is there any Azerbaijani word that you would like to, make me aware of, or our listeners aware, like any Azerbaijani word that you use, the most?
I mean, it's like we typically open the conversation with salam, means that hello,
Hello.
but
Yeah.
there is a word. It's actually not Azerbaijani, but this is maybe a Soviet influence. We call it brat. Brat
Right.
means
Okay.
that, kind of like a brother.
Okay.
So yeah, salam brat, like hello brat.
Huh.
Yeah,
Hello, bro. Okay.
yeah,
That's nice. I mean, that's pretty much similar to, we have a language called Sanskrit in India, but we don't, it's not spoken on, on a large scale. It's a medieval language. So
mm,
in Sanskrit, we call it as Brata. And so that's very much similar to what you told, Brat. So
yeah, brat. Yeah, it's funny word because my wife, she doesn't speak Azerbaijan, and every time she mocks me. She's like, anytime you pick up the phone with your Azerbaijan friends, you are like, "Salam, brat." Same thing. I'm like, yeah, that's yeah.
fantastic, fantastic, Rafsan. So yeah, Rafsan, thank you so much for taking time from your busy schedule and being part of my podcast initiative. I just loved the conversation that we had, and especially you gave me a complete heads up about let's say a spotlight about the Power Apps, which I really really want to get an idea about, and also about the Microsoft Power Platform, which completely blew my mind, and the way you're handling three things, being an adjunct professor, working, as running your YouTube channel, and then working as a solutions architect for your company, which is really remarkable. So I really wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And again, I would say once again, thank you for being part of it.
Thank you so much, Akhil. Same to you, and again, like thank you so much for the opportunity and invitation. This has been great, and yeah, looking forward to maybe speak more on the future podcast.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I think I will log that for sure. And yeah, we can have a part two for this. I mean, mostly, let's say, we can talk about whatever topic, like about Power Platform in deep, and just go a little bit technical. So for sure, yeah, I'll log
Sounds
that
good.
out.
Awesome. Thanks,
Perfect.
Akhil. Have a great
Yeah,
rest of your
yeah.
day.
Yeah. All right, listeners. So on this note, this is your host, Akhil Navluri, signing off. We will be back with another podcast episode with another eminent industry leader very soon. Till then, keep listening. Take care. Goodbye. Stay tuned and au revoir. Thank you.